Hello everybody. Today I'll be going over the Shopify Product Deduplicator. This is a tool or a template to help you take your exported product CSV from your old system and remove any items that already exist in Shopify already. So you're deduplicating any kind of items that don't need to be imported into Shopify because you have it in Shopify already. That is the major goal of this particular template. So just before we take a look at how the tool works, here are the requirements before starting. So what you'll need is a unique identifier for each product, and that needs to exist in both of the systems. So usually we use an SKU or a barcode. And even if you do call it something different in your old system versus what you've called it in Shopify, that's totally fine. So for example, if you have your system ID from your old system, but you've imported that as the SKU in Shopify for any items that you already have in Shopify, that's totally fine. We just need to make sure that those codes are existing in both systems and they match for each of the products that already exist. The next thing that you'll need is a Gmail or a Google Drive account. This is because the tool itself is hosted on Google, and so we'll be using Google Sheets to be able to use the automation that has been built here. The next thing is, of course, your exported product CSV from your old system and the exported product CSV from Shopify as well. So on the last point here, I'm just going to show you very quickly how to grab the product CSV from Shopify. So if I go to my store here, we're just on the landing page. What you'll do is go to products. And if I go to export at the top here, you'll just want to do all products, export as CSV for Excel numbers, etc. That's totally fine. And you'll go ahead and export your products there. If it's large enough, it will be emailed to your email account that you're logged in with. Most likely your file will be emailed to you, so just watch out for that. All right, so now that we understand how we can grab the CSV file from Shopify, let's jump right into the Shopify Product Deduplicator. You'll find a link to this tool below the video. And what the link will do is have you make a copy of the template so that you can use it and have your own copy. So go ahead and make a copy. And this is what you're going to see. So there are some instructions, and the first thing that I'll actually mention is that there's multiple tabs at the bottom that you'll need to focus on. So there's a tab for pasting the data from your old system, and there's also a tab for the Shopify data. So let's start with the data from the old system. So there is a single cell here with some instructions. So please select this cell and paste your full sheet of data that you've exported from the old system. Now there is an additional piece of instruction that you'll need to make sure you're doing. So we'll take a look at the old system data. So this is just example data that I'm using here. So what you'll want to do is make sure that you drag and drop your unique identifier or the search key into the A column. So like I mentioned before, that would be something that exists in Shopify and the old system. So in this case, I know that the SKU exists in my old system and in the Shopify system. So what you can do is just click on the letter of that particular column from your exported sheet, and you can drag and drop it into the A column. And then from there, once you have the unique identifier in the A column, I'm just going to select all. So I can do Command or Control A, and then I will do copy. So Command or Control C. And then I'll navigate back to that template. And you can tell that the cell is highlighted as needed if the blue border is on that cell. So that's fine. I'm selected on this cell, and then I'm just going to do a Command V or a Control V to paste. You can also use the edit function if you're using any kind of sheet editor to just go ahead and use paste if you're not familiar with the shortcuts. So I've pasted it there with my unique identifier in the A column. So just remember that's very important. Have your unique identifier in the A column before you paste it into the Shopify Product Deduplicator template. Always do the drag and drop of your unique identifier before you paste it, otherwise the template won't work. So next up we have the Shopify Data tab. So for this one, you need to select the A1 cell, and you just need to paste the search key or the unique identifier from the Shopify data. So after you've exported that data from Shopify, this is how it looks like. So our sheets always will look the same. There's a lot of columns here, but what you'll want to do is scroll to the right and just find the column that you need. Again, usually we're going to be using the SKU or the barcode. And so that is something where you will just keep in mind what you've pasted already from your old system, find the similar cell or similar column of data that exists in Shopify. In this case, it's variant SKU in the end column. Again, the most common ones are the end column variant SKU or the X column for variant barcode, just depending on what you have in both systems. So I've highlighted the whole column by clicking on the letter, Control or Command C once again, go back to the template, and we can just paste that SKU field into the Shopify data column. Now once you've done that, our system will have a little loading bar there. And once that loading bar is complete, it will highlight any rows of data with the matching SKU here. So as you can see, it's highlighted in red, and those are the SKUs or the items or the line items that already exist in Shopify. So it's automatically detecting that for you. So really, the work is done here with the match and identify of which items already exist. So at this point, you have an option of how you would like to handle these particular lines of data. If you like to do a manual process and just double check if you need it or not, what you can do is highlight the row, and let's just say I know that I definitely don't need that item. You can go ahead, highlight it by clicking the 5 row, right click it, and you can delete the row completely so that you're not dealing with that piece of data at all, and you're just importing anything that's new, which is left as unhighlighted and white. There's some more automation that you can use from the Google sheet editor here. So if you would like to use a little bit more automation because your sheet is very large and there's lots of data, some suggested processes that I have for you would be to use some data filtering. So what we can do is highlight the whole sheet by clicking this little square over here at the top left-hand corner. Under data, what you can do is create a filter. And what you can do is, as you can see over here under SKU, there's this little down arrow triangle that will open up the filter options, and you can sort by color. And what we can do is we can use a color filter so that we can find all of the white ones, for example. So anything that I don't have in the Shopify system right now, if I go ahead and select all of that and copy and paste it into a different sheet, I'm going to have a sheet of just the items that I need to import into Shopify. So I can add a new sheet over here, call it new items, and go ahead and paste that in there. And if I do the sort by color again and do that light red, I know that these are existing items. Sorry, I'll do the light red. Filter by color, light red. And these are the existing items already, so I can copy and paste that into a different sheet as well. So this is existing items. So that's a quick way to separate your items from existing to new. Now, you may be asking, why would I want to separate my existing items versus my new items? Well, the most common example for this is that the new items will be imported and we will just format that into the Shopify CSV format using one of the many tools offered on the Migration Hub. But for the existing items, there may be specific fields that you want to update your existing item listings in Shopify with that data. And so that would be a different process than uploading new items. So in this way, I have a cleaned up sheet where I know all of these items should be uploaded as new items. And the existing items I will curate in some way where I will eliminate any fields that I don't need to update and only keep the fields that I know is more valuable for me to update the Shopify fields with. And that will be two separate processes there. And this template here has helped you separate out those items by using some automation to find which SKUs or which barcodes already exist in Shopify. So from here, you'll do any kind of transformation work using the Migration Hub tools, using these new sheets or the new filtered sheet that you had created after pasting into the multiple tabs here. So hopefully that will help you expedite your cleaning process of your data, because cleaning your data is something that you should be doing before transforming the data in any way.